It's midnight and you're watching Nightline with me, Muhammed, Ahmad, Hamdan. The headlines. Muslims celebrate Hari Raya Aidilfitri as COVID-19 fears recede. And studies show positive sentiment towards unity government, says Fahmi Fazil. Good morning. We begin with this headlining story. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah and Raja Permaisuri Agong Tunku Azizah Aminah Maimunah Iskandariyah on Saturday performed the Aidilfitri prayers at Masjid Negara. The royal couple arrived at the mosque at 8:15 a.m. accompanied by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. The prayers led by Grand Imam of Masjid Negara, Ihsan Muhammad Hosni, were also joined by cabinet ministers, deputy ministers and members of the public. This is the second time Yang di-Pertuan Agong performed the Aidilfitri prayers outside of Istana Negara. Last year, the king performed the prayers at Masjid Wilayah Persekutuan after 2 years of doing so at Istana Negara following the implementation of the nationwide movement control order. The sermon, titled Aidilfitri Lebih Bererti, among others, called on Muslims to take advantage of the celebration to improve relations among members of the community. Muslims are also urged to instill feelings of mutual love and respect for each other, tolerance, and live in strong unity to develop the country holistically. Before departure, Al-Sultan Abdullah and Tunku Azizah spent some time greeting the congregants. The royal couple left the mosque at 9:15 a.m, followed by Datuk Seri Anwar and other ministers. After the prayers, the King and Queen hosted a Hari Raya Aidilfitri gathering at Istana Negara. The royal couple arrived at the main banquet hall of Istana Negara at around 10:10 a.m, accompanied by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim and wife Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail and Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi. The reception was also attended by foreign envoys, including from Singapore, Indonesia, the United States, Turkey and Brunei, and around 2,000 people consisting of civil servants, community leaders and the Orang Asli community. Also in attendance was Media Prima Group Chairman Datuk Seri Dr. Said Hussein Al-Junaid. After the reception, Al-Sultan Abdullah and Tunku Azizah exchanged greetings with the guests. Elsewhere in the country, the celebration was also lively with mosques and suraus holding Aidilfitri prayers. This year's celebration also marks the first time in 3 years that it is being celebrated without special COVID-19 standard operating procedures (SOP) being enforced. In Perak, the Sultan of Perak, Sultan Nazrin Shah, performed Aidilfitri prayers at the Ubudiyah Mosque in Kuala Kangsar. He was accompanied by the Raja Muda of Perak, Raja Jaafar Raja Muda Musa, and Raja Dihilir of Perak, Raja Iskandar Zulkarnain Sultan Idris Shah. In Pahang, the region of Pahang, Tunku Hasan Al-Ibrahim Alam Shah, Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah performed Aidilfitri prayers led by Muhammad Faisal Abdul Manaf at the Sultan Ahmad Shah Mosque in Pekan. Over in Sarawak, Yang di-Pertuan Negeri of Sarawak, Tun Abdul Taib Mahmud and Sarawak Premier Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg performed Aidilfitri prayers at Jamek Mosque in Kuching. In Perlis, the region of Perlis, Tuanku Said Faizuddin Putra Jamalulail performed Aidilfitri prayers at Dataran Istiadat Istana Arau. He was accompanied by Menteri Besar Muhammad Shukri Ramli to perform the prayers led by Perlis Grand Imam Ahmad Sirajuddin Abdul Sattar. In Terengganu, the Sultan of Terengganu, Sultan Mizan Zainal Abidin, and Sultana of Terengganu, Sultanah Nur Zahira, performed Aidilfitri prayers at the Al-Muktafi Billah Shah Mosque in Ladang, Kuala Terengganu. In Kelantan, the Sultan of Kelantan, Sultan Muhammad V, accompanied by the Crown Prince of Kelantan, Dr. Tengku Muhammad Faiz Petra, joined thousands of congregants to perform the Aidilfitri prayers at the Al-Ismaili Mosque in Bandar Baru Pasir Pekan, Tumpat. As for Pulau Pinang, more than 5,000 Muslims performed Aidilfitri prayers together with the Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Tun Ahmad Fuzi Abdul Razak at the State Mosque. In Malacca, the young Dipertua Negeri of Malacca Tun Muhammad Ali Rostam, along with almost 10,000 people at the Al-Azim Mosque in Bukit Pala, performed the Aidilfitri prayers led by Grand Imam of Al-Azim Mosque, Datuk Muhammad Hashim Al-Hafiz. Moving on, the people's mood and support towards the unity government led by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim have been very positive. Communications and Digital Minister Fahmi Fazil said the findings of several studies conducted recently also found that there has been a positive sentiment towards the government.
Sekarang adalah waktu untuk bekerja keras, bukan hanya untuk merancangkan pertumbuhan ekonomi, tapi segera menyelesaikan masalah rakyat. Satu sentimen yang agak positif baru-baru ini ialah dapatan daripada Jabatan Perangkaan yang menunjukkan tahap peningkatan inflasi sekarang ni berkurangan ke 3.4%. Itu satu petanda yang positif, bermaksud ikhtiar kerajaan berjaya mengawal peningkatan harga barang.
Fahmi, who is also Pakatan Harapan's Communications Director, spoke to the media at the Hari Raya Aidilfitri reception at Istana Negara. However, he said this was not the time for the government to be complacent and get carried away. He said it is the government's time to work hard, not only to boost economic growth, but also to immediately solve the people's problems. Now, the government has ordered a probe into allegations that the early closure of a bail counter at a Kuala Lumpur courthouse led to 6 accused spending the long weekend in jail. Law and Institutional Reform Minister Azalina Othman Said said that she had directed the Legal Affairs Division under her ministry to investigate the claim. On Thursday, it was reported that 6 men would be spending the long weekend in prison as the counter that processes bail had closed earlier than usual. They were among the 10 who claimed trial for criminal conspiracy with the intention to cheat. The 4 others managed to post bail in time. Their lawyer, Alvin Tan, claimed that the bail counter had closed at 2:53 p.m, shortly after the magistrate had granted bail of 4,000 each. A notice at the bail counter states that its operating hours are until 4:30 p.m. Datuk Seri Azalina said that the right to bail is a fundamental and constitutional human right that the government respects without question. Any act, including administrative issues, that interferes with this right, according to her, is viewed as flouting this cardinal principle. The minister went on to say that if the claim made by the accused lawyer were true, it needs to be reviewed and corrected, and this is to ensure administrative errors such as this do not repeat. In a bid to stabilise airfares for flights to and from Sarawak, the state government must intervene in the market. Sarawak Premier Tan Sri Abang Johari Tunopeng, who stressed this, noted that the move is vital in view of the current high rates. This was the reason which prompted Tan Sri Abang Johari to seek approval from the federal government to set up its own boutique airline. Expecting the airline to be operational within 3 years, the Premier said the approval was sought after he had done his research and calculated the risks.
And what we need is a new business model that I have thought myself. And that will allow you to have a flight. That one is boutique, small airline, and then they can fly within the region. Hopefully lah, tapi kita asyik fokus dengan untung. If you can cover the overhead just enough, after all, the people will benefit.
Speaking to the media at the state's Aidilfitri Do, the Premier said Sarawak already has the experience of operating an airline through Hornbill Skyways, the state-owned company. The proposal for the airline was made 2 years ago when Tan Sri Abang Johari said the state was planning to establish an airline to be operated by Hornbill Skyways. Last week, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said he agreed with Sarawak's plan to set up a state-owned boutique airline, and the proposal is to be discussed by the Cabinet. With the world gradually recovering from the pandemic, the observance of Hari Raya Aidilfitri assumes a fresh meaning, enabling families to come together and participate in the festivities after 3 years of various health restrictions. One such family is in Selangor, where Nightline's Alif Yunus took a closer look at the celebration of airline pilot Muhammad Razmin Abdul Rahman in Gombak.
It is the 1st of Shawwal and the sound of takbir echoes through the air. After the Aidilfitri prayers, families gathered to seek forgiveness from each other, a ritual of the festival. As Muslims around the globe celebrate this auspicious occasion, families are relishing the opportunity to spend time with their loved ones who have travelled from near and far to join them in the festivities. In Gombak, I went over to the home of Muhammed Razmin, who is celebrating Aidilfitri with his loved ones who came from near and far. All of his family members, dressed in traditional attire, exchange greetings as they welcome one another. As they sit down to enjoy a splendid feast, laughter and conversations fill the air. The family's tradition of potluck is also a significant part of their celebration. Everyone brings a dish to the house and they share among themselves.
I think the best part is, I suppose, the food, okay? And everybody brings their own food. If you go back to the kampung or something, then you would have like, if you go back to Kelantan, you'll have laksam. If you go back to Melaka, you'll have asam pedas or lemang. But here, with our family, everybody brings a little bit of Ria Kampung here.
The family celebration is not complete without their tradition of giving out gifts, including duit raya, to both kids and adults as a gesture of love and blessing for the occasion. Muhammad Razmin's grandmother had passed away last year, and this Aidilfitri gathering is testimony that the family is still very much intact.
As always, we are a close-knit family, you see, so what we do is we will have potluck so that we don't burden anybody. So everyone will bring a dish to the house and then we share among ourselves. And then we have this sampul raya money to the kids, from the eldest to the youngest. For example, we are now 4 generations, you know. So if you are the fourth generation is always the winner because they will get from everybody. You see, so the second generation will give to the third generation, and so on. You see. So another thing is, it has always been our tradition to gather where my late mother stays. See, she stays with us in KL, so she rotates between those who are pensioners, you know. But since she has passed away, so me being the eldest, so they all come to my house. See, so we are very close knit family, and as you see, we are always happy, loud and happy.
Do you feel that celebrating Hari Raya in Kuala Lumpur is more or less enjoyable than celebrating in other parts of the country? What do you
both.
Think? Both. You feel both. You feel enjoyable and also less enjoyable. Why is that?
I like it because I can play, but I don't like it because it's very hot sometimes in Hari Raya.
Okay.
And you like
Which one do you prefer? To celebrate Hari Raya in Kuala Lumpur or celebrating Hari Raya in outside of Kuala Lumpur?
Do you like driving there?
I like to celebrate in both places.
And as a COVID-19 precaution, Muhammad Razmin had scheduled his relatives and guests to visit at stipulated times.
At that time, and at the height of the pandemic, we couldn't go anywhere. But then, after a while, the government sort of relaxed a little bit. We slot each family certain time. For example, 11 to 12, this family, and the next time, the next lot is to another family and so on and so forth. So that we don't have to be here in a very big crowd, you know.
I think it's very good for us, for the family, especially since the last 1-2 years during COVID, everybody was separated. Now we get to be together as before. It makes a lot of difference.
Muhammed Razmin and his family will be visiting their relatives and friends on the second day of Aidilfitri after playing host to dozens of people on the first day of Shawwal. Despite the challenges posed by the pandemic, the people are making the most of the joyous occasion and celebrating Aidilfitri while remaining mindful of the risk and taking the necessary precautions. Arif Yunus, TV3. Selamat Hari Raya!
Thailand issues extreme heat warnings for dozens of provinces. News from the foreign front when Nightline returns.
Right.
Welcome back. Onto the foreign front. While some countries celebrate Aidilfitri on Friday, other countries such as Malaysia, Indonesia, India, Pakistan and Congo kicked off their celebrations on Saturday. Let's take a look at some of the festivities observed across the world to mark the end of Ramadan. In Thailand, authorities on Saturday warned residents across large swathes of the country, including the capital Bangkok, to avoid going outdoors due to the extreme heat. According to the country's meteorological department, temperatures reached a record high of 54 degrees Celsius in Bangkok's Bang Na district on Saturday, with authorities warning residents to avoid outdoor activities and be wary of the danger of heat stroke. Temperatures are also expected to exceed 40 degrees Celsius in at least 28 provinces on Saturday. Meanwhile, a government spokesman said the recent extreme heat has smashed electricity consumption records, with the country consuming more than 39,000 megawatts on April 6. The extreme heat is expected to continue for the next 7 days. Japan ordered its military Saturday to prepare to shoot down a North Korean ballistic missile after Pyongyang said this week it was ready to launch its first military spy satellite. Placing the satellite into orbit would require a long-range projectile, which North Korea is banned from launching, as the United Nations views such exercises as tests of ballistic missile technology. According to a statement from the Ministry of Defense, Japan's Minister Yasukusa Hamada on Saturday has ordered for the self-defense forces to make necessary preparations, as he could potentially order the destruction of ballistic missiles. Preparations, he said, included making arrangements to deploy troops to the southern prefecture of Okinawa to minimize damage should the ballistic missile fall. Previously, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un said preparations for the planned launch of the country's first spy satellite should proceed to counter perceived threats from the United States and South Korea. Sport. Sanfrecce Hiroshima wasted the chance to take top spot in the J-League after losing 2-1 at home to Tokyo FC on Saturday. Hotaka Nakamura, headed in Paris Olympic hopeful, Kuryu Matsuki's free kick at the far post to give the visitors the lead after just 5 minutes. Nakamura then turned provider for the second in the 28th minute, making an overlapping run as he was released down the right by Diego Oliveira before his cutback was curled home by Shuto Abe. Sanfrecce halved the deficit in the 38th minute when Shunki Higashi's ball over the top found Takumu Kawamura, who laid the ball off for Tsukasa Morishima to slot into the bottom corner. With the 2-1 win, Tokyo FC moved up to 7th place on 13 points. In another match, Yokohama F. Marinos came from 2 goals behind to beat J-League leaders Vissel Kobe 3-2 in Saturday's encounter at Novir Stadium. Goals from Koya Yuruki and Yuya Osaka in the 19th and 28th minute put Kobe 2-0 ahead. Anderson Lopez cut the deficit in the 33rd minute before Kota Watanabe scored the equaliser from outside the box, assisted by Kota Mizunuma just before the break. Lopez then headed in the winner off Jan Mathias's cross in the 82nd minute for the 2-3 win. Kobe still sit in the top of the table on 19 points, while Marinos moved up to 2nd place on 17 points. Climbers of ME 2023 celebrate Aidilfitri in snowy weather. This and more after this break. Thanks for staying with us. Malaysian Everest ME 2023 team celebrate Aidilfitri with a valuable new experience. They celebrated it upon arriving at the Everest Base Camp EBC after a 14-day journey covering a distance of 77.48 kilometers. The mission was led by 35-year-old Azim Afif Ishak, along with team members 33-year-old Awang Askanda, 55-year-old Awang Askanda Ampuan Yaakob, and 30-year-old Tiong Ling Yang. Also joining them was the team's female climber and manager, 30-year-old Ayu Wanirah Naharudin. They arrived at EBC on Friday and began adjusting since April 7th, with trekking activities starting at Namche Bazaar through several areas such as Dole, Machamo, Gokyo, Tangna, Zongla, Dingboche and Lobuche. According to Azim, the main objective of this climb is based on unity. Although feeling sad celebrating Aidilfitri without their family, that feeling must be momentarily forgotten to accomplish their mission of conquering Everest. Despite facing temperatures as low as 10 degrees Celsius, which is one of the biggest challenges for the 5 Malaysian climbers of Everest 2023, who are now at the base camp at an altitude of 5,365 meters above sea level, it did not weaken their spirit. Instead, it gave extraordinary meaning to achieving the mission of conquering Everest. At the moment, the team is reported to be undergoing training and adjust at Khumbu Icefall. Azim explained that due to heavy snowfall that covered EBC on Friday night, they would need 2 to 3 days to ensure the ice melts or hardens well before resuming the climb.
Kami daripada Malaysia Everest 2023 mengucapkan Selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri. Maaf zahir dan batin.
The ME 2023 team departed for Nepal on April 2nd and is expected to begin their postponed mission from last year in early May. And that wraps up this edition of Nightline. On behalf of the Nightline team, I would like to wish all our Muslim viewers Selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri and have a great celebration ahead. I'm Muhammed. I'm Hamdan. Thank you for watching and Selamat Hari Raya.